past a little bit, and Xiao isn't the player that we once thought.
Well, let's take a look at Agent Select and see what Xiao's gonna go with here. I mean, no changes on the side of Na'Vi. Why would they? You know, they look so good.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Na'Vi changing here would be a very big surprise. On the KC side, changing up to the double duelist.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Martin and Avaz. Avaz has played Raze on a couple of maps for KC, or at least the Ascent, I believe.
He has,
so I quite like this change from KC.
Well, yeah, I do like this as well. And actually, when you talk about the switch up as well to kind of overcome Hero on the Vice, actually you have two great gap closers, and the double duelist, we already know, we've talked about it on Split, how much success you can get.
Yeah, and there's also the comp, I believe, that Fnatic played against Na'Vi. So if they've taken some of Fnatic's game plan there, it should be a pretty good map for them.
Typical Mini, always wants to make it about Fnatic. Let's send it back to your casters and see if Na'Vi can take us to a map 3.
It's a map 3 that we've been waiting for so many times, floated in the veto, but all focus on Split right now. That perfect map from them before, first 13-0 of the EMEA partnership era, a 3-year wait since 2022, finally ticked off on. With a flawless defensive half though, they start on the attack here, something which KC can't go back and look at and, you know, pick too much away from.
Yeah, I think like the desk got it spot on in terms of this is a clear Na'Vi favourite moving in towards this. Obviously, you can't take much away from the Team Liquid game, so I'm excited to see what improvements KC have made since that rescheduled match and what they have to like bring forward here, right?
Absolutely. The question is, yeah, what does that prep look like? This new version of KC. Very low win rate for Na'Vi on their own map picks, but they're going to need one of them here. Start off, it's 5 players outside of A as Sadak, the sole guardian of this site.
Yeah, not finding much from that. KC holding on towards mid, and with all that utility, Sadak is trying to stick around here. Something in which to work with. The Haunt doesn't get much in terms of information, but Na'Vi have at least got a very open plan.
Yeah, it's sort of off towards the screen side, and so that's where they're going to go. Na'Vi funneling players towards the defensive half. They've traded places because it's ramp that's re-cleared.
As Hero in the pocket, Xiao. He found one, but that's all it's going to be. As KC now start to get things underway. On towards the A site you look. You've got to think about Elite deposited towards Heaven to just catch out a late lock, but Na'Vi are stopping KC, and there's tracks! And we'll find that pistol round.
Another attacking pistol round won by Na'Vi. Now looking back, if my math serves me correctly, that's 4 out of 4 for the last attacking pistol rounds that they've played. And on this map, great way to start it because, as we mentioned previously, they only needed to win that last time. It was a mid-push they went for, 5 players strong. Similar thing here, but it's A. And I love the plant spot. I love the awareness to be looking for Elite in Heaven there too.
Yeah, and I think for me, Na'Vi bring out that iconic buy. Once again, 3 rifles there in which to work with. Remember, KC can find a way to try and find a couple of those rifles and pick them up and work with it. There's 4 players sitting, 5 players in elbow.
Like badgers in a hole. RV Pest Control looking elsewhere. Oh, or are they?
Don't think so, mate. I think this is going to be beat.
And you could only hope. There is a world where they walk into that, but still, Na'Vi, on a lot of these rounds, and as we said before, building towards that bonus, it's about keeping things clean. They have struggled massively from these positions so far. It has been a real dampener on what otherwise, we're talking about a team which can have an upswing in form. You know, it was the 13-0 on this map against GX, which made you think, oh, okay, Na'Vi are really back from decider to decider.
Yeah.
Against Apex, that series, you go into the Heretics game though, and it's a quick reset. Back to Vitality, BBL, reset again.
I feel as if though, for me, when I think about Na'Vi, we're always waiting for what was promised, right? A team that should be reaching international events, have veterans that have done it many times before, but I always feel disappointed, right, in terms of what the heights that they actually reach. It's always one step too far for them.
And look, this elimination game important to just show that they can endure those trials and tribulations as KC have moved that train of players into the corner. Against the Pistols, they are going to win a couple of fights back. But you look at Navi's current buy, those purchases which they will be able to keep as all of KC go down. It's 3 rifles retained into the bonus.
And this is where we look at Navi, right? Because this is a few times now on the bonus round where they've come in with a fantastic buy, but they've never been able to back up the promise of that, right? Something similar to what we're talking about with the actual org in the team. They need to be able to try and pose real problems, do real damage. They weren't able to do it yesterday, not necessarily in the first map. Can they do it here on map number 2?
Split their selection, starting on the attack. But it's KC that want to make the first move of this rifle round. Navi anticipating it. Crossfire placed. Martin in play. TP available, but opts to go against it. It's Elite at his back, which fires 2 shots off, finds 2 kills. Navi down to their last couple players.
Yeah, and the sound cue from the announcer showing that the spike is down in shops. The last 2 on Navi, Angel and Ruxic, to try and fight back into this. Ruxic in towards the backlines. Angel has to try and come from sewers and has utility to clear players in the spots that they're in.
Without help in this position though, the in-game leader. It's a slow trickle of util out from the belt, but that is a tether. Aves has been spotted on the other side of the wall, but what do you do with this? It's nothing, it's just a distraction.
Yeah, he's baiting for Ruxic to come in to spot, although Sadak has identified what they were looking for, and now Angel left all on his own.
This is a round which has very quickly crumbled. Like sand, it falls through the hands of Navi. Nice mid-jaw from KC. They read the situation so well, just felt like they had their finger on the pulse in terms of what to expect from Navi in that round. And so that's how they get on the board.
I would love to know if we could get a statistic on the amount of rounds that we see Navi come in with a full buy and end up losing out. As for this though, they move in towards the rifle round in the next. KC with a brilliant read. And it looks as if they're read into this one too. There's 3 players on the A side for the defense. And Navi have all 5 ready to hit it.
First of those players is Martin again, but he goes down at the hands of Koala. That need. It's going to drop in for damage, but nothing more. Satchel away. Sustain on the Navi side, and it looks like they just want to dive straight in to this push as well. Aves to receive them. The wall is a little too tight for him to play around.
And KC have done brilliantly to stall out Navi. I mean, they're trying to look towards heaven now, but I mean, the defense happy to give this up.
Spam back through, but as soon as this wall drops, the timing is everything. Nearly caught with a prowler there, Sadak, and he falls flat. Elite by his side. Sugetsu trying to creep up behind his former team, but it's the wall there, which I'm not quite sure if it got trapped or not. I didn't quite catch that.
No, it's still up.
Yeah, he's not even gone for it.
I mean, has the TP if he really wanted to go by it, but is worried about players maybe coming through vents and repositions towards shops.
And so Hero's job here is to just clear out all of that space and make sure there isn't an oncoming flank, that the rest of Navi can group up with some comfort and take the A site.
I mean, Navi don't really have money to go hunting either for these last 2 remaining rifles on KC, and I think the defense will be happy to try and save them out and have something to work with in the next round.
My ult's ready.
I mean, on top of that, you get Koala's Showstopper up as well. Maybe just looking for a couple of exits here from Sui in the attacker spawn.
So round number 4 ends with a gentleman's agreement that Navi will remain in front. Sui just hunting for some exits, but it's Hero who has done his job and stood the test. Back on this Vice, which, you know, at times we say it's a Sentinel, but plays much like an Initiator in the way that you have to be very acute with your utility usage. That Arc Rose is fantastic for mid-rounding. And you know, you look back at Heroes history on former teams. I remember all the way back in the Wild days, right, where they were running an Ascent comp when he was on the Phoenix. Look, let me cook. On the duelist with flashes because, you know, KO was not something that he felt comfortable with in his agent pool, right? In terms of how you look to try and be very specific with where that utility is invested. But I have to say, I'm very impressed as we get to the point with how he's been playing and gravitating towards, the same role, but a very different agent.
Yeah, that was really nice that the replay ops were able to highlight the smokes as they were forming was what gave the attack the notification of where players are. Remember that showstopper available for Koala, and KC have a bye here. If they lose this, it could be all upset. And they have made their inroads in mid once again.
This is such a strong position for Martin because he can immediately send himself over towards the A site.
Ping's going out on the A side from the Navi at the attack.
And that's the question, you know, does he commit to this TP in the final few seconds of the timer? And the answer is no. KC remain with their double-layered setup towards middle, and that's where A now comes under threat. Aves on the off angle.
Seen the fast trigger discipline, works well, but it is only one, and it's Hero the Sentinel that's gone. Chance to maybe try and go for a flank here as Koala gains space in towards screens.
That first player gone, Navi have the man advantage, but they don't have the space. I mean, you do still have Angel coming late ramp with this open plant, but there's no tower player.
Yeah. KC are quick onto the site to try and take the fight. Shao denies that. Oh, it's going a little bit topsy-turvy. But still Navi come out on top. And that's a really big round to win for the attack because they're going to break the defense by.
So Navi had the open plant, they had Angel in main, and then I think it was it Ruxic who TP'd up onto the platform? And we're in smokes as players are walking back through. I would love to see that from another POV. But Jules won as far as Navi are concerned, and it has pushed KC onto an eco here as well.
Yeah, and well, you look at Sugetsu to be the only one with a rifle trying to spam in B main, where there was plenty of bodies to hit. Unfortunately, not a point of damage felt by Navi.
Set up with this very deep wall, of which I know Mitch is a massive fan. As they group up through market. Just starting to investigate mid now late on. KC have put player numbers here multiple times. This is one of the first where they show us a more passive style.
Yeah, and at the same time, Martin's getting a load of information just sitting in A main. Doesn't have anyone to fill that space in heaven, though. That's the only thing to worry about for KC. Martin, though, with a chance to maybe take that main space if it did come through mid, but instead, this is looking like a B split.
KC know it. They can feel that something's in the water. From tower, Koala goes, supported by the long TP backside, making the cross, connecting with it, and the transfer as well is there. Angel by his side, this is comfortable for Navi. KC, again, just feel like they have players in the right position, but in this round it's the guns and it's Shao that shuts it all down.
That Cosmic Divide now up. You're wanting Angel to try and get a pick or at least get caught out, and he is going to get that. So the Nightfall is well being kept for the next round. An in-zone flawless and well played by Navi.
And looking at the players here as well, that's 4 out of 5 that didn't break their heavy shields, so still have all of their armor, don't need to pay for a single upgrade, and that's absolutely huge in terms of bolstering this economy.
Angel taking it by himself, bro.
Speaking in the third person, and Navi playing like they're sat in the audience right now, I think, in terms of how they've approached a lot of these rounds. Even if it has been the site where KC has set up, it just does feel like they're winning the duels convincingly. We haven't seen all too much to get excited about from the defense so far, but that's where the ults start to come up, and this timeout has that much more importance placed on it.
In terms of what KC have been doing though on the defense, like, how do you change that up? What do you do differently? It feels as if, like, when it comes to some of these retakes, Navi are so well prepared in what they need to do to stop Carmine Core coming back in.
also, you know, just even the mid info as well. Like, many times you'll see a round of split be decided on who has control of that area of the map. I find it all the more intriguing that neither of these teams are running the Breach or the Teho, right? The premium refreshable utility that you have, those signatures to take that space. So, an opportunity to try and exploit, and well, there you go. It's another 1,000-kill landmark hit, and it's Angel that has gotten himself there. Round of applause.
Finally, the big man gets there, and NAVI looks as if they're going to be able to get this A site for pretty much free as they set Koala Noob up. Sadak, though, trying to find a little spot in which he can try and keep himself alive. Koala catches a Vez, and there's more players there to fight.
It's just Sadak looking like him from elbow, crunch in from the vent position. But NAVI just know all too well.
Spike planted.
Spike comes down. Elite into the retake, gets his first 1v1 and takes Angel out of play.
But that Viper pit is still up, so if NAVI lose control of the Spike, could get a little bit worrying. You still have the Astra util up, 4 stars on show.
And all the extra utility, but Elite wants in. What a statement this is. Viper's pit dropped, still not spotted. Had the molly out, was thinking about it. Gravity well, the expected response, still no stun, still no challenge. NAVI should be looking to take this on one player at a time, just means that they can buy themselves the clock as much as possible. That's how you've got to manage the situation. NAVI doing a great job, and while there isn't a player left to tell the tale, that is round number 6, and some serious security about this attack side now.
Yeah, they've done really well to get the advantage that they've got. Not only that, this round, I don't know what happens. A bit of chaos, and I was worried for NAVI moving towards Heaven, but Shao does well to get rid of that. Now for the next one, we're back to another swing round. KC, well, if they lose this, back to an equal roll. They've got the showstopper to use, though.
Just feels like such a telegraphed play, though, Cairo. So Casey, wait a moment before they pull the trigger, and it will go off with a bang. Avis has 2, but he might need more. Gets his 3rd, can't get out. Ruxic with 2 bullets in the Outlaw finds 2 kills. And control of the Spike back on the Na'Vi side.
Do well to get the even trades. The Angel now coming to support Ruxic in his endeavours.
Casey playing the mid round nicely, though. They've regrouped both players. They're now starting to walk back down mid and have a look in. Hero's Wall is missing from sewers, and with this information, they know there is the possibility to commit to making this a double flank. For Na'Vi, you're wondering how much extra real estate they're willing to take in this situation.
It's not only that, though, there's plenty of time to play with if you're on the attack, and the timing here is absolutely insane.
Yeah, Na'Vi are taking a lot of it to get onto the site. They don't have enough to play around with.
They've not thought about this at all.
Absolutely. And it's Elite and Sugetsu right behind as the Spike looks to drop in. It's the player instead. Angel another up against Elite. First bit of damage goes his way.
Still has utility.
The captain to clutch it. And then around he goes to the corner. The Spike plant tapped, but Elite finding the shots and putting KC back on the map.
I mean, at the same time though, Na'Vi don't think about this flank whatsoever. The fight in A main is good from either side, even trades, but with how long they took, surely you think to the back of your head, this could be where the players come from.
Brilliant individual moments from both Ruxic and Aves on either side of the server. Each in their rookie year, but proving indispensable to their sides.
KC aren't out the woods yet with their economy either. Martin, players to fight, targets to hit, and he's doing so. Oh. He's got 2, and he's out.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then right behind it, you've got Elite with the molly and the smoke, so no chance Na'Vi to get back in here anytime soon. The Prowler will clear a player 10 paces back, but Elite remains ahead of the curve, and that's where Angel will fail to clear him. It was a 5 versus 2, but Hero gets one back in the conversation. Again, though, these players are so split up from one another, and you're asking for heroics again to win the round for Na'Vi.
I mean, these are the players to do it, though. 2 to fight Rucksack. Nearly gets the second.
It's just the one that he settles for, though. It looks to have paved the way for Hero on the A site. Haunt drops into Heaven. KC should really be expecting this second player, though, and you can start to see the movements on the map suggesting it as well.
Hero's trying to look for something to work with.
You have to be in these situations. Does have both Thorns, Arc Rose, and ult. If it gets to it, it's another situation, a clutch of which he is so capable. But will he be up to the task here to confirm that advantage on this attack half?
It would be a big round if he could do it. He's had highlight moments before. We think towards the GX game where it took him a long time to have his first death. To come up in a 1 versus 3 here, you've also got to consider Sadak has the Nightfall, which he will use, so Hero loses a lot of health. Decade, and decides to go for an ultimate of his own. He fancies this as the players send it their way. The reaction's unreal! Hero! He had no sight, but he doesn't even need it! A Red Bull clutch to send Na'Vi into an advantage in the second half!
That's absolutely disgusting from Hero, and he knows it. 7th secured. And it's a situation where you feel like KC have to take the timeout. Actually, it's Na'Vi that call it. Maybe for composure more than anything else, but we chalk the situation up to be exactly what it was. One that Hero was capable of winning. So many multi-frags on that standout display that we saw against GX that you mentioned there.
And I think as well though, you say like maybe for composure, but there is still a lot of mistakes that Na'Vi are making within the actual round itself. It was heroics that won them that, and sure it breaks KC's bye, but this is what I imagine we're seeing from the coaching staff to come in and talk about, and just like make sure we're not putting paper over cracks.
Completely agree with what you're saying. You don't want to wash away that blood without sealing the wound. And Na'Vi certainly coming into this game with plenty of things to consider coming out of the BBL match, right? The story as it was, they won all 4 pistol rounds. It was in the rifle rounds where they struggled. Moments like this make all the difference, and just looking back at it, I mean, there was no sound, so for Aves, just trying to get the element of surprise, oh my lord. Zai's just reminding us that he has had a trim as the hat comes flying off the head.
That is insane.
But that is a Red Bull clutch for the books, and now looking at the hefty bill that KC have been forced to foot here.
I have the spike.
It's just pistols. A Bucky, a Guardian.
I mean, that's what you're looking towards, right?
Choice weaponry.
Martin has been the enigma many a time on Carmine Corrin. I mean, Sadak was talking about it. We need to know when to use the X factor, and well, in this position, they certainly need it as they go to take these fights in mid.
Last time it was 2 kills for Martin and a TP out, but on a round such as this, you're happy to get away with the goods. Anything that can just snowball the late round into something a bit more winnable, and he's even going to invest the ultimate.
Gets a rifle back in his hands though because he's using that dimensional drift.
Yeah, and the pass is the one that he had over to Sugetsu. So with every passing second, this defense continues to get stronger. And that's the story of the B site. A 4th player pulled over, Elite on the approach as Na'Vi get ready to walk into this one like lambs to the slaughter.
Look at that little gap as well. Sugetsu would have information to try and shoot through, but Koala's beating the smoke. And the gunfights, they're going KC's way.
Quick trade, still numbers with the defense. Angel does get spotted, but look at Aves walking out, 15 seconds, still no plan.
And the spike's down cold. How does Angel get that back?
Unreal from Carmine Core in this round. Sure, you can come up with a huge individual moment, but when we call on a team performance, it's KC that deliver the pay safe card Thrifty.
Now moving into the next. even after Navi timing out and still losing that round, they have ultimates in which to work with. These are really nice shots from Sugetsu and Martin that were able to snowball into a round win.
And that comes through it being a micro masterclass as well. Just the finer details, passing a weapon over, not, you know, blowing all the cash on a few different guns. This time it's the full, but it's Martin again! How does he do it? Every round good for the one and still not down.
Rooksy trying to play up above once again, at least gets the trades out. So no more Viper utility on the defense.
And that has been a mainstay through middle in terms of how KC could dictate the pace of play. Hero on another one of his signature lurks, and that's Sadak gone. As the captain is lost to the A site, it opens up completely for Na'Vi.
There's also a cosmic divide for the post plant to even buy more delay.
That's on top of what Hero has already thrown to the deck. The wall, the thorns, and the flash in front. Fake out from Martin to try and clear this early util, but the divide is up early, and Na'Vi are ready to receive those players.
KC know that they can't get out of CT, so they're repositioning for Heaven as a way of getting out, but at the same time, Cosmic Divide is denying them any sort of line of sight here.
Burning the wick at both ends, but knowing that this is all the time that they've got left. The util's gone in and done its job. Martin trying to pave the way, hold the torch, but it goes dark. So get to the last player standing, long-serving member of Na'Vi under Angel. But with Hero, the new boy on the block, having his mark made on yet another round, a lurk turned into a full sight hold. You thought Martin had done enough.
Yeah, this is an insane round from Hero, and I really like to post plant by Na'Vi. And moving into this next round, again, we just have to highlight what's up and available. It's Hero Steel Garden, and it's come through his ability to find these picks. It's coming up time and time again. This will be a really big round if Na'Vi can win it, because that would be a 9-3 half. Martin trying to be the one, the difference maker, but instead it's a difference maker for Na'Vi.
So quick to take the A site. Elite's already got a Sheriff. That's all he can have. Doesn't matter. After the ult, it makes no difference. Sui one back, still Heaven control. Spike going in, and look at Angel. Not Angel, sorry, it was Sadak on the other side. I thought we had some kind of a flank coming in, but no. It's all bodies as far as Na'Vi are concerned on A. And a retake which just doesn't feel feasible.
No, both players disconnected as well. How do you even get back into this one?
Short answer is no. Long answer is no, you don't. Koala with his third on the round. KC having to settle for just 3 from this defender's side. It doesn't even feel like they've hit the baseline. Na'Vi, the ground running on their own map pick of Split. Can they carry that onwards? We'll see after this.
Remaining. Out of charges.
Well, we said that this was a map that NAVI were clear favourites to win, and it looks like that's the case after that first half. They're up 9-3, Hazza, but what can KC do to bring themselves back into this?
Sadek saying that they thrive in a difficult environment, and I don't think there is any bigger task than being down by a margin of 6 rounds at the half. Of course, you know, 7, 8 or 9 would be a little bit harder, but I digress. The fact of the matter is they're on the attack here. They are running the double duelist. Aves, Martin both having moments. Those need to create something a little bit more here. 5 ghosts brought up.
Okay.
Just playing the default, looking for a pick off any player.
Something to bring it back to what Sadhak was saying in that interview was just have to focus on things round by round, and in a 9-3 deficit, you would expect this is exactly the game plan. Kuala Noob noted through the haunt. At the same time, KC are also got their eyes set on mid. They've got a vice wall to try and fight through. It's procced, and that hero's got a chance! That was a right click!
And he was on top of the wall as well. It's not too often you see that played, but this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Game by game, his Vice looks to get better and better.
Angel... He's exploring an avenue in which you don't necessarily want to be in, and he's being hunted down at the same time.
There's a double tether there though, so has bought himself a little bit of space. Still no support. Angel, good for the first. Still, Na'Vi are so slow to follow this up.
Yeah, and if they try and execute in towards A, those storms that are live, as you've just heard, will deny them entry. 30 seconds.
30 seconds left.
But, I mean, damned if you do, and if you don't, go back to middle. That's where Ruxic is already waiting on this fence side. Oh, but the A-hold can't hold up its end of the bargain. Sui's found 2. Na'Vi are on the other side of the veil. The curtain put up in their face, and the plant coming in open, even without that extra control.
All 3 players ready to play off one another, but that's a big kill from Xiao. It brings it back even. And the last 2 remaining players on KC are low.
And out in the open, Martin felt like a sitting duck, but quickly he responds. Xiao, the healthiest of the players left in the server, looking for more, but it's Martin that makes manifest this KC attack side berth.
Yeah, I mean, that's both teams with 2 pistol rounds to their names, 1 on each map. And again, though, with that being said, getting this one over the line is going to be a great way to start this half and their comeback into split.
Onto the attack side as well, something from the Liquid game, the glimpses that we got of it, was the post plant. Had looked a little bit shaky at points. I go no further with that conversation, but the point being is, as this one moves forwards, you're looking at it being double dive, right? Something which, again, Sadek has shown affiliation towards, typically the Jet, but Martin's Yoru, iconic as it is, you're wondering how much utility can they stockpile when they get into these positions? How difficult can they make it for Na'Vi to have successful retakes?
I think this time we'll see what we saw on Icebox in terms of denying orbs and taking it slow. So KC, this will be number 5, so we'll end up 4 rounds the difference between the 2.
Right now, it's Elite, the player that should be looking to try and cause any problems. In fact, he's the only solo player towards ramp. The double up comes with the rifles, and with Sugetsu's name in the feed, that's a couple for him. KC still keeping this one clean. Time slowly ticking away. Martin now the one on the hunt as that ghost changes hands. Headshot Ruxic, trying to farm up some of these ult points, but Sugetsu's the one that is just a single point away from having his in the next. And there it is. From the shadows comes online, as do KC. That's 5 now, looking towards a very strong bonus round.
Yeah, and can KC now show Na'Vi how to convert a bonus round with their buy, because they have all 5 players on a rifle. Some nice shots all in, but I mean, it was futile resistance coming through from Na'Vi. Still at the same time, NAVI have been building up the same time some really nice ultimates and halfway towards Shao's Cosmic Divide.
Slay bestie. KC highest win rate in that metric. And it's a round like this when I'm looking at 4 Vandals, a Bulldog, and quite a few regen shields, in fact, 4 of them. Big fans of the new kit. KC slow on their mid approach, but taking the necessary steps. The Haunt clears vents, but Ruxic is here, and with his rifle in hand, that's Martin gone, no trade.
Yeah, there's still support as well through Koala Noob. That utility combo looked good, but
Miss nade.
yeah, exactly. It just doesn't get the nade just doesn't hit as well as what it should.
And so for these early investments all KC made towards mid, they haven't really held on to the space. It's only Aves deposited here. Can't quite track Ruxic as you saw Sugetsu find that kill on B and send it back site, but to Hero he goes. And to the spectator screen now.
There's a lot of ambitious plays coming through here. And will KC get control of the A site, you're looking at Aves in the position that he's found himself in.
It's just going to be calling KC back towards this side of the map, towards B, behind the standard lurk wall. They will go into vents. Hero just about in position to catch on to this, but does he expect Aves? The reason for the rotation. A deep clear, but he walks to the open, and that's the advantage for the attack side.
Yeah, that could be the deadly blow on the round. 15 seconds, plenty of space to get this spike down. As for the 2 remaining, Koala and Ruxic, they have utility in which to work with. Most importantly, Koala's nade.
Smoke setup as well are going to completely estrange the main players. In fact, it's a little short of the mark. It's just to help cross into sight, and always the possibility of a player swinging back from outside it. Navi are slow in their movement to the side.
Yeah, but look at the crossfire, you can't really swing out into this.
Someone's going to have to soon though, surely not another full stick. Satchel coming in to push at least a player off, but the spike's already been halved, and that's where someone needs to step up. Someone on the Navi side, it has to be Ruxic. Second smoke, but can't find the firefight. Sadak delivers a bullet to his brain. That's a 6th for KC, and I tell you what, Cairo, it's the bonus that they've picked up.
Yeah, and not only that, you win the bonus, you destroy the buy of the defense. And Navi, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they're letting another lead potentially go to the wayside, this time in the round count. And you think for a minute that they're going to be able to get the defuse through as well.
I'm so stupid, I didn't.
I don't know what it is he didn't realize. Potentially the smoke's still in play. I feel like that would be a bit too much of an oversight. Okay, nice shot, Martin. Into his dome piece, 5 HP left. But I think that round as well tracks what I was saying about those post-plant situations. KC still grouped up though, able to haul it through. The threat in this round for me is Koala's Bucky, but yeah, solo A. Spike not yet committed, but Navi already showing they're willing to show face.
It's like, yeah, the threat is Koala's Bucky, but are they going to go anywhere near it? I mean, it looks like Elite is though.
Spike is behind this, little bit separated.
Oh no.
Koala up close. This could be a problem, but as Elite walks and just hugs the back wall, that's the safety from the Bucky. Away from striking distance. KC on the A site. Moving here with intent now, all 5 players, heavy main control, but concessions made towards spawn. It's such a long rotation for Angel though, so yeah, there's no real moves to be made right now.
Oh, that is a big move though. That should clear out main completely. Navi won't know that, but it's still all 4 players on site. If they can constrict them and stop them from getting out, 4 rifles could be lost here.
Shackled by the thorns, sent out by Hero, the tether on top and the reveal behind it. KC looking to win the round at the very least, but can you get out with the guns if you were able to? Ruxic finds 2. Xiao needs a couple more. He's not going to be able to win this, but in terms of damage control, I think Navi have made a bit of a dent here. KC up to 7, and that's the big talking point. Just 2 rounds in it. Still the defense yet to pick one up when they had a flawless defender's half last time they played this map.
And that's the big thing, right? And I wonder if that's what KC looked at in terms of their ante in towards this, if they were thinking about game plan management, right? Their defense side didn't look too good, but their attack even better.
And one important statistic that needs to be mentioned about that defense is that they didn't concede a single first death, NAVI. So they always had the run of play going their way. It's these uncomfortable situations again, which is the serious stress test of how well the team is doing.
Martin, up close, did see Koala, but Ruxic hasn't been identified. He will do after destroying the fake out. Well, thinking about the dimensional drift instead, decides against it.
And KC don't want to rush this. They're playing the game at their own pace. They have the tools now. Sadak's still with the Nightfall available, so if you wanted to tag up a couple players, you could potentially get Martin in behind. But it looks like he's just going to full send it B instead and clear out some of this potential utility, wall included, but no fake out to remove it.
Yeah, remember, the dimensional drift doesn't have as long as what it used to be, so the Nightfall comes in, and Hero's found a pocket, trying to walk it, make it go in his favour, but it doesn't. Shao does instead. Needs to win against Sugetsu, and does, and puts Navi at one player to the good, trying to use his own star to make a pocket where he can walk, and does so on for the ace, but it's Koala who's in the next engagement and loses a chance now for Elite to run to the other side of the map.
That's the green light. And in terms of what he has to work with, he still pocketed that poison cloud. One off the pit as well. So many tools to just play around. And Shao coming back into this, just a single star, and not much health to support it.
Viper's Pit, and I mean, it's not as if you'd have much health anyway. Elite quick on the swing out. A Red Bull clutch brings us within one of these two teams.
And as I said before, NAVI are just not getting these rounds on their own terms and conditions. I have to say, after KC finding that opener, it did feel like they rushed things and it was kind of messy towards the B side of the map. NAVI doing well to dissuade, but I mean, Elite winning another clutch for as many as NAVI built their empire on their own attack side with these 1vx's. That is such a backbreaker now. 5 rounds consecutive and you're digging into empty pockets.
You are. Again, defense eco is never kind when you find yourself at the back of a run of rounds from the attack. And what do you talk about here if you're Navi? Try and amend the mistakes that you've been making.
We've seen that NAVI are very willing to invest and upfront some huge ultimates in rounds which don't best suit them economically. However, they don't really have the ones that I think you could really cause a problem with here. It's more looking towards that retake.
And I think, I was just sorry to cut you off, mate, but like, you think that you say that, but I feel as if a Steel Garden on a retake, you even the playing field. Like, I don't hate that idea, but the one thing I do hate is Navi always invest in those ultimates.
I was just about to say that when you look at Happy's history, even as a player, he was always someone very good at doing more with less, at least in terms of weaponry, so I find it funny. This is the situation we're in. It's Hero. The Sheriff in his hands this time. A hand cannon, as it were.
And there's always two ways of approaching a round after a timeout. Do you either play it fast and loose, or do you play it slow and methodical? And KC looking to go the latter route. As they dot their I's, cross their T's, and Navi are like moths to a flame, trying to respond to any sort of pressure.
Yeah.
KC are poking and prodding throughout the map.
And they still have a minute left here as well, Cairo.
It's of Nightfall as well.
It is. Angel getting it up from the orb picked from the floor of A main. That's where the initial aggression was. Navi kind of hoping that they can shepherd KC into the setup. They're still going to get the B execute. But this one feels like it's at KC's pace rather than Navi having set the precedent.
Shao found out. He's able to get one of his own though. And Ruxic has a Spectre as well, so as you come onto the B site and close quarters environment, you would favour Ruxic here.
Around the smoke. Spectre in hand. Hero also on his lonesome, 20 seconds time. Not really here for them, needing to clear out those couple of players, but look, Naves is a safe pair of hands. 2 kills quickly. Spike in a spot where you would want Koala's nade maybe to stop it. It's going to take a while for him to get back over. The rest of the upgrades are on site. Angel does have the Vandal. He's trying to play it kind of early.
Yeah, and that horn to clear close by, but that rifle now passed over to Koala. He doesn't even have shields either.
No, and I don't know how much more of a go he wants to give this. He won't get half a chance. That's 6 rounds now, successive for KC. Split should have been the shoo-in for Na'Vi, but now you're looking at the real possibility of a completely catastrophic second half. The defender-sided half, of which we saw be airtight for them before. But now it's poor and it's porous.
Yeah, it's not looking good whatsoever. The ultimates to come back in. Sure, they used the Nightfall, but there's plenty more at their side. We look towards mid as there's a couple players here to try and brawl it out. Koala holds on to B main with his operator.
The first real time that you've seen that op come in play as well. The desk talking about it in detail, how Navi's macro is built around this. A consistent factor in that game against BBL yesterday. Felt like they had the right read a lot of times when they were trying to scout it out, but not able to deal and contain that threat fully. Already looking at both Prowlers being invested in mid here. Angel's just keeping half an eye on it.
Remember, Ruxic still to make his introduction here as well, so this has been really good baiting out by Angel, and Ruxic's able to get 2, but Casey, 2 back in the conversation. It's even after that engagement.
They have the tower control here as well, which they have so frequently enjoyed.
Shao, he's in a one and done angle. He can't really escape from there.
But KC have closed it off. Sadak looking to use his utility through this smoke, play around with the timing, shooting the haunt mid-air is Shao, but still finding the kills. Koala has the ult if he needs it. Just to get that first round on the board, you might as well pull the trigger now.
He's also buying time for Hero to get into position as well.
But Hero doesn't want to go too quickly because he's worried that Sadak might have repositioned. Still 10 toes down on the B site. And as the showstopper goes off, he knows where Koala is. If he can find this kill, then maybe there was a chance. But there you have it. Na'Vi clapping back eventually, double digits, but it took a while.
Yeah, that's the exact point I was coming in with. The fact that it had taken 7 rounds to find that round as well. I mean, the benefit from that last round is that KC were able to get the showstopper. The bad thing is, they chose their own.
Koala noob. And again, you're just expecting him to be involved as much as possible on these rounds when he has the op. Through mid, he'll go this time. Smoke place market side, but he's the first responder to the ramp play.
Yeah, for the most part, Navi were happy to lean heavier towards other places in the map. So now the players start to rotate in. KC had a free site, they don't anymore.
The wall not yet tripped in that position. They know it's the flood out from main. KC get themselves on site. Without Koala Noob, his trusty op, the support of player presence, it's KC that take this fight early.
Trying to go in towards CT. The ultimates now starting to come through. The first of which is the Steel Garden. Ruxic trying to use his own ultimate, and there's a pocket to work with. And behind the Cosmic Divide, Casey aware of this, trying to respond. Martin and the rest of the players fall at the same time. A distraction, but Aves still not found. Finally, he is. And Navi, after getting their first very quickly, double up.
And it's so important that they do as well, because you're looking at the money on a few of these players. Ruxic, Hero, Shao, all below 200 credits. I don't think there was any world where KC were going to get caught off guard fully by that Cosmic Divide TP play. You remember back to kickoff last year, they were the ones that pioneered it with the Yoru, but it's the fact that there is no return there.
I think that's the thing though, right? You say that, there's no way they're going to get caught off guard, but they do in another sense. They put so much investment into trying to deal with it that Navi are able to get the value.
It's like a distraction.
Yeah.
Look. It's your favorite set retake over here in backside, and then the rest of NAVI have a different kind of approach. The next round, just as important as the last, and that can be said for KC most importantly. Stinger in the hands of Martin, the rest have the guns they would like. Sadak the ult, 5 players through the mouth of main.
Outcome, Koala's op has been notified, and well, Shao found out as well. Ruxik's in! Oh, out of nowhere, out of heaven! An elbow drop onto the head of Carmine Court. And Ruxik's still able to survive, and he has support as well. Navi are looking to send this towards 12, and they'll get it! That's 3 in a row!
They all come up at the exact right time. I mean, it was bound to happen. The 9-3 comeback, we get to 9-9, and it's all Na'Vi.
But it's like the same storyline that happened on Icebox.
Absolutely. The question now will be, can they close it on not completely favourable terms? KC still have money left in the bank. They've got a timeout from which to work. But that was, you know, a precious ult invested. The first couple of picks collected, but then Na'Vi with the rest of the player numbers, and Ruxik dropping out of tower there to support the double kill, reinforcing the backside space with his smoke as well to his left-hand side, enabling everyone else around him, as both smokes are the stars on the Na'Vi side.
Can you see this easily going to overtime as well? I don't think Navi are completely out of the woods just yet. I mean, you look at the money as well, it's still not amazing on the defense. As for the attack, and we'll have found most of their success, or I guess less of their success recently, they've been caught off guard with these retakes that Navi have been doing.
Yeah. And it's a point that I raised much earlier, but I suppose it was almost invalidated with that streak of success from KC, but some underlying issues starting to pop up in these rounds that matter most, when you felt like the teams were on even terms, that big swing in their direction has been met with an equal response. So here we have it, KC to hang on and not head towards Ascent. From Koala.
Needs to be careful of shops.
Complete confidence in taking this space right now. As you've highlighted, KC hanging on, just waiting with bated breath for him to peek in. And as he goes round the corner, it fires back. Alves to get the once over his opposite number. And you look back to the streak of rounds that KC won, they always had that first pick.
He did. Ruxik, though, he's trying to be a bit too aggressive for my liking. Invest in the paranoia so he can get out and calling for support and Angel.
2 players tucked. You look at Hero in the meantime, completely detached from all of this on A.
Right there.
Elite is going to be walking on up behind his own wall at a moment's notice, or
Portal closed.
in fact it's a full cancel as this garage space is taken. It looks like KC want in with the dimensional drift which they've just brought up through the ult point.
I like that, though. You know, you go and clear out, but I don't think Shao's been found out there, and he finds himself in the smoke, close to players. Angel found out. That main fight's going to be a big one. Shao gets to Getsu!
Oh, and there's more to be had! Time is low and it's all on Shao. If he can hold this side of the map, then maybe it's enough for Hero to come in and save the day again. But already taking on that responsibility, he finds the first and freezes.
Waits for his teammate to come in and support. No utility on either. Shao's star won't come back up on time.
I don't think KC fully realise where exactly Shao has gotten off to. Hero with the flash to just lay this back up. It does get destroyed, and the drop-in not yet here. As he's finally spotted, Hero responds, and this might just be how the second map ends. It's all on Martin between KC and the Decider. The first kill is his. The TP across, and the time on his side. Shao has to stick it half. Martin knows it and nails the shot. A Red Bull clutch. 10 taken. KC still alive.
I can't believe we managed to get into a position where it is winnable for Navi. Martin, again, we speak about X Factor. That's a player you can depend upon when it's needed. And again, I highlighted it just before we went through this round. And Navi's bio didn't look great into the next round because of the money that they have, and that's exactly the case. Both teams are stricken for options here. A big swing round and deciding if this map is done or we go overtime.
It's the biggest round in this series so far. And it's Xiao again, who needs to keep his composure. One kill might not be enough, especially due to the fact there isn't players on site this time. Playing from tower, they'll keep the space at the very least, but
well, his nades have been pretty good in past, though.
yeah, I think he needs an extra layer of support to find this kill. Instead, it just buys time. Na'Vi have made that rotation happen.
Yeah, that Nightfall still up and available for Angel. This retake could be pretty good for Navi.
Alves hearing footsteps in the halls above. The Nightfall not going to catch him. Still not spotted. Sadak at a top draw. Here's Alves on to the next. KC coming up clutch in the rounds that they need. The absolute most. Regulation to the limits of it we will go. 24 rounds on the table and KC still not keeling.
Hazard, they're going to have to throw the kitchen sink at this round. They have absolutely nothing in terms of their buy. It was a big swing round and it swung defiantly in KC's favour. The ultimates, I mean, here or there, you look at it, depends on the way that some of these kills go, or ultimate orbs, that could be a defining factor.
But it feels like a very straightforward round from KC in their 11th hour on Split to send us to a second successive overtime in the elimination series. They head into the double stack of utility set up. Alves has the ult, but at the best of times, he's been unable to land it. Xiao from the corner, finally spotted, still not taken down, and while Alves gets one in the meantime, Xiao still walking away with one, and Koala gets his but can't get out. Spike still not down.
The reposition.
And Ruxic right behind them. Oh my lord, he's only going to get one for now.
The players trying to escape up ramp, they're not going to get a chance.
It's a 2-on-2, and Ruxic has taken it to their advantage. Na'Vi doing it right at the death, 13-11. And so with that, there is more to be played.